With all of the unboxing videos and reviews out there, I know they can be somewhat confusing if you're trying to make a decision to buy an Atari 2600 Plus or if you have questions about it. I've watched a lot of reviews online, and many of the questions that I've had about it have not been addressed. So when I got mine, I had to answer some of these questions myself, and I certainly hope that some of your questions are answered by the end of this video. If you've already ordered your Atari 2600 Plus, thinking that you were just getting a new 2600 with an updated HDMI output, you may be disappointed to know that this is not an Atari 2600. It plays both 2600 and 7800 games, but it's not really an Atari 7800 either because there's no pause button. So it's really an emulator using Stella at its core for the Atari 2600 games, so it's a hybrid of both. And it may not play all of your 2600 game cartridges. Since Atari has already released a compatibility list, we will only be testing some of the officially released games. And this is because we're going to be testing the original 7800 controller and some custom 7800 controllers, along with the new CX30 Plus paddles that I ordered from Atari. I won't be tearing down the unit, but it's important to note that there's a USB port inside. But I've also seen on Atari aids that the firmware update can be updated directly from the USB-C port. So let's get to the unboxing first, then we'll test my Homebrew games and some paddle games with the new paddle controllers, and finally we'll check to see if my AtariVox and Savekey works. And yes, I can check this. This is important for any future games that might be made that might be compatible with the 2600 Plus that can utilize the Savekey feature. Okay, let's get to the 2600 Plus first. 10 games in one cartridge. Experience the beginning of home console video gaming. The video game system, CX40 joystick, cartridge, cable, HDMI and power cable. 10 games in one: adventure, combat, dodgeball, haunted house, maze, craze, missile command, volleyball, surround sound, video, pinball, Yar's Revenge. Let's get to it. There it is. Now this plastic piece, I've heard it makes a nice dust cover. I might try that. Cut some notches in the back to make room for the power cables and the controller cables. Just set that right on top of there and keep the dust out. It's not a bad idea. So this is all I get, and it's all folded and bent up. Really not much to it. I don't think I really need that. Okay, well there that goes. All right, let's open this one up first. Okay, nothing else in there. I do like the way they package their stuff. See, HDMI cable. Not sure how long that is. We'll get to that. And then the power cable. There is no brick. At least not in that box. This has to be the CX40 Plus. Ah, the cartridge. Ten games in one. Right. There are the dip switches. Okay. End label. Very nice. The selection of games, I wonder about that. Okay, all right. There she is. Wow, that feels so stiff. I haven't had a real CX40 in my hand in so long. I don't know or remember how they feel like. Maybe they're supposed to be. I've been using the Hyperkin Trooper for so long. There's not as much travel in this one. I'm not sure how I feel about that. We'll have to check that out. And there's the console. Looks very nice. It's kind of light. Yeah, they were saying the switches were stiff. They definitely are stiff. Nice wood grain in the front. Check out the back. Okay, on the left is your aspect ratio, 16:9, 4:3. And then your right and left control, and then your difficulty, HDMI, and then your USB-C power. Okay, very nice. Okay, let's get to the paddles. Find it interesting. They're supposed to be CX30 Plus, but I'm not seeing that anywhere on the package. All right. There's a cartridge. I like this idea of the sleeves, though. There are the dip switches. And they only included 4 games, which I found odd. In the game selection, Breakout, Canyon Bomber, I mean, no Warlords. Well, they certainly look like the old paddles. They don't look any different. Wow, they feel a little stiff. The button feels fine, but man, they feel stiff. Well, they seem to loosen up a little bit as I'm moving them, though. Not much, a little bit. Huh. We'll have to see. Yeah, they're stiff when you first start them. I don't know. I think after you play with them for a while, they might work their way through, but they're not as easy to turn as my old ones. Let's see. Okay, let's try some Seawolf. Well, that's a winner. Move on to the next one. Lem, I love Lem. One thing I'm finding with these, that you have to play them, because sometimes just because they boot up, it doesn't mean that they're going to play. But this one looks like it's playing okay. All right, move on to the next one. Space Pac-Man from Game Select. My buddy Ricardo Pym. It fires up. Well, looks like it's playing okay to me. All right. Let's get into some gameplay here. Yeah. Dragon Chalice. Jason Santucci. Another good friend. Look at this room. RBG, Retro Bliss Gaming. He put that in the game for me. Look, works good. Oystron. This is a great homebrew. Again, you can't just boot them up. You gotta see if they're playable. Blinky goes up. This is another one I'm not really good at. But it seems to play. I don't. But it plays just fine. Kung Fu Combat 2 from Good Deal Games. About the closest thing to Street Fighter that you'll find on an Atari 2600. Yep, it's playable. Spiders and Flies, another Game Select title. Yep, it's playing. Champ Games. I figured I'd give this one a shot. I don't think that Scramble's going to work, but I'll give it a shot. If this doesn't work, none of my other ones should. Venture Reloaded. Venture works, I think. This might. Aardvark, another great homebrew. Love this game. Nope, that's not normal. This is a great, great homebrew. Nope. Stratovox. This one's fun to play. Nope. Hero 2. Game Select. Blank screen. Asteroids Attack game select. I thought this one would work. Back zoom, and this has a menu, so I don't think this one will work. Nope. IMV Plus, a Space Invaders clone. Very fun game. I love this game. Ruby Q. Nope. Draconian, another great one. Nope. Star Castle Arcade. I'm not good at this game at all. It's a good game though. Retro Game Quest. The Immortal John Hancock. Programmed by Jason Santucci. Game Panic. Another John Hancock game programmed by Jason Santucci. The new Game Panic 3 by John Hancock, also programmed by Jason Santucci. Blank screen. Does not load. I have a rare copy of it. It's a dual cart with BLT Blast on the other side. Let's try that. Nope. Wrong weight. That loaded up. I wonder why the other Game Panic 3 wouldn't load. This one loaded just fine. Might as well try BLT Blast while we're here. Another one by Jason Santucci and Jim Intronic. Yeah, seems to be working. There's the 10-in-1. There's the dip switches. I really don't want to compare this to a Retron 77 because it's really not the same thing. But to me, the picture is crisper on the 2600 Plus. It just is. Now we're at video pinball. Love video pinball. This joystick too. At first I wasn't sure about it, but the more I play with it, it's kind of I remember the feeling of it. I think this is how they were meant to be. It's got 16 games on it, and it's got dip switches like the cartridge that I got from Atari. So I thought we'd try that out. So let's set the dip switches to the original Berserk. The image on this Atari 2600 Plus is really crisp. I really do like this. So I have Defender. Let's play some Defender. Okay, let's play my favorite game of all. Anybody who knows me on the channel knows my favorite 2600 game. Actually, I'm being very sarcastic. I'm very bitter about the 2600 version of Pac-Man. But I will tell you, after playing this with this new CX40 controller, it kind of reminds me of playing it back in the day. And it's a very playable version. It's not great, but it's okay. And this is the paddle cartridge. We're not going to play any of these games on the cartridge, but there it is. I like the labels. And I like the dip switch idea. Now I'm going to show the AtariVox demonstration. Juno first has speech in it with the 2600 and Savekey. It saves your high scores. So let's see if it works with the Atari 2600 Plus. Now, if you saw, it says Savekey found. So let's play a game. Now see, there should have been speech right there. And there was none.
2 hours later.
Yeah. Okay, let me put in my initials. Okay, there's my high score right there. Okay, shut it down. And let me restart it. Now my high score should be on there. Now you'll see where it says Savekey found. Watch. The high score's not there. Does not work. Let's try the save key. There won't be voice, but let's see if the high scores will save at least with the save key. I'll just play a quick game here. I'll get killed a few times and get a score. Put in my initials. Okay, there's a high score up there. See, it's showing. Let's turn it off. Okay, turn it back on. It'll show save key found. Save card found. No high score. So as of right now, it does not work. Alright, let's try the 7800 stock controller with chop lifter. I'm not sure which button was fire and which button was turn in the original one, but seems to be playing just fine. Now this is my 2-button LED controller from BD Retro Mods. Now the LED lights do light up. So this is chop lifter as well. So let's try this. Okay, button 1 turns the helicopter. Now button 2, when I hit button 2, it fires and turns the helicopter. It's doing both actions with one button. So this is my Dogbone controller from BD Retro Mods for my 8-bit and 7800. It's working perfectly. No issues with it. Alright, this is Kaboom with the new paddles. They seem a little stiff to me, but honestly, I think there's a little jitter with Kaboom. Maybe it's just me. Video Olympics. No jitter here. So it seems smooth, doesn't seem to be any lag here. My gameplay is not great, but Rick out. No jitter or lag that I can really tell. Canyon Bomber, there's the black and white switch. It works. Let's get to a selection with the paddle controller. We'll just play a little bit of this. This is really a fun two-player game. Now this is a custom paddle controller from BD Retro Mods, and I'm detecting some jitter with it as well. And I don't think it's the paddles. I think it's the emulation. It's the game maybe, and I don't know. I may have to check my 2600 and see if there's some jitter with Kaboom itself. It may just be the game. Robotron 2084. This is my dual fight stick from BD Retro Mods. I had to try it out, of course. The difficulty switches are reversed. Check this out. This is in the B position. This is in the A position. The manual for Space Invaders clearly states that the difficulty switch in the B position, the cannon is smaller, not larger. This is in the A position. So Atari screwed up again. I think this can be cleared up in a firmware update, but they rushed it out. So when you need to know this when you're playing your games. And lastly, I cut some notches in the back of the plastic that came in my box. I'm using it as a dust cover when I'm not playing. I think it's kind of a neat idea. Just take the cartridge out and use it as a dust cover. Why not? So I had mixed feelings about the Atari 2600 Plus. I like it in a lot of ways. I like the construction of it. I like the look of it. I like the feel of it. I like the clarity of the gameplay. I like the compatibility of the officially released games. I think Atari took some time to make the experience the same as it was for me when I originally had my 2600, but now in a modern way. However, Atari, in typical fashion, didn't do complete testing of the console before sending it out. Labeling the difficulty switches in itself is a minor thing, but many people who will buy this thing may never want to or be able to do a firmware update to fix that or any other issues that may be needed to be addressed in the future. Also, since this plays 7800 games, why didn't they include a 2-button controller? Soon they'll be selling a 2-button 7800 controller separately, but why didn't they include one? The Atari 2600 Plus has the potential to be modded by hardcore gamers, and we may be able to add tons of games to this in the future. But that's not what the Atari 2600 Plus was made for. It was made to play your old Atari 2600 and 7800 cartridges on today's high-definition screens. I have the new Atari VCS and I have the new Atari GameStation Pro. I really don't think it's fair to compare any of these with each other. They are all different in their own way. The difference being is that the VCS will eventually not be supported by Atari, And the GameStation Pro, while you can add games and play in HD, you can't play cartridges. The Atari 2600 Plus honestly takes me back to a time where I'm looking in my shoebox trying to pick out my next game to play. It's really all about nostalgia. Well, thanks for watching. If you like this kind of content, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It helps get our content out to more people. And feel free to comment as well, as I read and reply to all comments. And so with that, have an awesome day, and we'll see you next time.